Thank you for downloading this in-ear entertainment podcast. You're listening to Shakespeare's Sonnets. Sonnet number 3. Look in thy glass and tell the face that thou viewest. Now is the time that face should form another, whose fresh repair, if new thou not renewest. Thou dost beguile the word, unless bless a mother. For where is she so fair, whose uneared womb disdains the tillage of thy husbandry? Or who is he so fond will be the tomb of his self-love to stop prosperity? Thou art thy mother's glass, and she in thee calls back the lovely April of her prime. So thou through windows of thine age shalt see, despite of wrinkles, this thy golden time. But if thou live rememb'red not to be, die single, and thine image dies with thee. God, I really need to practice these before I do them for this podcast. I apologise to all the listeners. This is Shakespeare's Sonnets. That was Sonnet number 3 by William Shakespeare. I'm Mark Chatterley, and I'm joined by the wonderful Thierry, who is sat the other side of the computer from me.
Exactly, here I am. Hello, Mark.
Hello. I was doing your bit for you there.
That's yeah. We'll switch it up a bit. I mean,
getting carried away. So this is sonnet number 3. I think this one, whereas the first sonnet and the second sonnet, for those who followed us so far, were very much you're getting old, go out and have sex. I think this one is slightly more subtle in that message. I don't know if you agree with that, maybe.
I'm not sure if I mean, he still mentions dying and death explicitly.
Yeah, I think
he talks about the tomb and.
I think it's appealing to his vanity. Maybe might be a better way of saying it. The beginning of look into the glass and tell the face you view. So tell yourself that now's the time we should form another. In the sense of it's appealing to his vanity of him looking into the glass and going, yes, I am quite a sexy man. I should make a sexy child, and we shall have a sexy family line going on through history. It's kind of appealing, at least in my mind, to that kind of aspect of this character.
That is true, actually. Yeah, although sexy child is probably
not, maybe that's not the best phrase.
Not the best turn of phrase. Yes, but look in the mirror and go, I am a beautiful man. I should have beautiful descendants.
Yeah, and there was about thou dost beguile the world, unbless some mother, which is an odd sentence from my point of view, which I don't quite understand in this context. There seems to be almost referencing the woman as a vessel and nothing else in this process.
That's pretty much. I mean, Shakespeare is so concerned with the beauty of this man that I guess he almost doesn't care about who the mother would be. He just wants the man's genes to go on. Just have. I mean, the womb. Vessel. Just have something to get your child from, basically.
And the language around the mentioning of the woman in this, the tillage of your husbandry being working of animals and tillage being working of agriculture, it is that the reference to the woman as just a host.
Well, I mean, he says, "For where is she so fair, whose uneared womb disdains the tillage?" So it's basically saying, there cannot possibly a woman who considers herself too beautiful to sleep with you. So just you could have anyone. So have anyone.
It's amazing to have these feelings for another. It's not love in the, at least not yet. It's not love in the sexual sense. It's not a homosexual relationship, or not that I can see you. It's more of a appreciative relationship of, you are beautiful. I can tell you as another male are a beautiful being, and therefore you should go forth. You make the world better.
Pretty much, yeah. It's good. fairly. I mean, as I said in Sonnet 1, for people who might remember, we don't really know whether this person actually existed. It might just be just fiction, a person in Shakespeare's mind. So that which would make it slightly less weird than writing them to an actual person.
Yes, although to write poems to a perfect being is quite an odd thing. To go so far as to create a mental image of someone who is, in your mind, the perfect example of a male is very odd.
Well, I mean, there are some. I don't want to say homosexual undertones, but they are throughout the sonnets. There are quite a few allusions to beautiful males. So, I mean, as an artist, you tend to appreciate any beautiful form, whether it is male, female. You see beauty where there is beauty. You don't really care about gender in that sort of.
Yeah.
Even without there being a sexual connotation, if you see a beautiful man, you see a beautiful man, and if you write a poem, you have that chance to admit it. I guess if you did it today, people would just go, "Oh, you're gay." But in Shakespeare's time, writing sonnets was something fairly normal to do. So,
and you didn't have to put "no homo" at the end.
Exactly. They weren't really. Well, maybe there were some prejudices in that regard, but we don't really. There's no mention in history of.
I imagine it was so hidden away from main culture that a lot of people just didn't realise it was a possibility. And I don't know, I'm just trying to think, would you say this? I know, I mean, these aren't my opinions, but some people look at people like David Beckham and go, he's perfection, or the guy who plays Bond at the moment, Craig.
Daniel Craig. Yes.
Daniel Craig.
I wouldn't call him perfect, but all right, yeah.
but people,
I can see why some people would. Yes.
Yeah, but would you go to him? Would you write him a poem and say, "You are so wonderful, you must have a child"? There's an element, at least to me, of something quite weird about this series of poems so far, about this series of sonnets, is that it's more than just the appreciation of beauty. It's there's almost we must better the human race by allowing people like you to breed. Not lesser people like me. We want people like you to breed.
Oh, that sounds very World War II.
Yeah, it does.
Only a certain class of people should be allowed to have children. No, but I see your point.
Maybe I'm reading into it too much.
I've had couples in my circle of friends where I just thought if they have to, they will have the cutest children, but I never really. I've never really looked at one of my male friends and went, you're gonna have some beautiful kids one day.
Yeah, I think that's what I mean. I don't know whether it's because we are of a different culture, maybe, but to me, that's a step beyond what would be deemed normal now. Maybe I'm going to need to try and get some guests on these shows, some people who actually know, and then we can ask them these, what to them are probably incredibly stupid questions, and see whether this was a normal thing, going up to your best male buddy going, "You should have kids because you are beautiful." Was that a normal thing or not?
Apparently it was for Shakespeare.
Yeah, it was for Shakespeare. And I just, looking down, you're right, as this sonnet goes on, it brings back in some of that more threatening language, I suppose, but then the final couplet, "But if thou live remembered not to be, die single, and thine image dies with thee." And that's appealing to this guy's vanity again, of if you die single, your image dies. Not you. I'm not even talking about you. It's your image dies. And to the addressee in these seems to be so vain that their image, their own reflection, means more to them than them as a person.
Well, I mean, he makes the allusion in the stanza before this that your children basically are, well, he says glass, which basically looking glass mirror, are an image of yourself. I mean, he says, "Thou art thy mother's glass, and she is in thee," calls back the lovely April of her prime. So April obviously being the beginning of spring.
Yeah.
your mother can see or could see herself in you when she was young and beautiful. So when you have children, you can, even when you grow old, you'll still be able to see your own beauty, what you used to be in your children. So if you want to keep looking at a mirror and you want to see your own beauty, have children, because an actual mirror will not do 10 years from now.
and that's almost like by having children, your beauty is frozen in time.
Yeah,
because
yeah.
But it's interesting that talking about thy mother's glass, your mother's looks are in thee, when just a couple of lines before that we had a very dismissive reference to the mother of this future child as being essentially, maybe I'm misreading it, but essentially just a vessel, just an incubator for your child. So it's interesting that Shakespeare honours the mother of this beautiful person for having a beautiful child, but doesn't honour the what will be the mother of this future child. All the beauty will come from him.
Maybe he's seen the parents and the father was a really ugly bastard.
Pug ugly, but still is.
And it was the mother in that case. I didn't pick up on that. That's quite a weird thing to do if you're obsessed with the male in this future parent relationship, and then you go on about that guy's mother. Yeah,
unless the looks that he appreciates in this male are quite feminine. Maybe it's the feminine beauty showing through this young male.
It might be. We haven't had any physical description of the man so far, so maybe they'll come up, maybe they won't. So he could be quite a feminine-looking man.
Yes. Oh, that should be interesting. I'm really enjoying this. And were these, I mean, you might not know, you know more than me, were these written as a series? As in, are we literally reading them as they were intended to be read, or were they just written on a subject and it didn't matter which order?
I'm not sure. I mean, they seem to have quite almost a narrative to them that we sort of follow down. I mean, obviously, as you said before, the first one serves as a sort of table of contents and an introduction to the whole series. And I mean, they are grouped in different. Well, obviously, we'll have the procreation now. There's the Dark Lady sonnets that we'll have a look at later. So I don't know if you wrote them in that order, but they certainly grouped together that way, and then they do work this way quite well. So
whether that was by design or by later scholarly reworking of all.
I mean, we're talking about Shakespeare here, so there's a fairly high chance that it was by design.
Yeah,
he was a fairly smart fella.
Yes, as we saw in that Doctor Who episode.
Exactly.
He knew the psychic paper was actually blank. Yes, therefore we know he's genius.
Obviously, the only historic documentary we have of Shakespeare
is that Doctor Who
written
episode.
by Russell T Davies.
Yeah,
Britain's greatest historian.
Yes, including the adventures of a time-traveling historian and his plucky sidekick.
Exactly.
Excellent. I'm going to step back there from this sonnet, unless there's anything else you wanted to pick up on.
I think we've picked up on all the things that are interesting in there. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I shall hand it over to you for your reading.
Yeah. Sonnet number 3. Look in thy glass and tell the face thou viewest. Now is the time that face should form another, whose fresh repair if now thou not renewest, thou dost beguile the world, unbless some mother. For where is she so fair, whose uneared womb disdains the tillage of thy husbandry? Or who is he fond will... See, I stumbled there as well. Or who is he so fond will be the tomb of his self-love to stop posterity? Thou art thy mother's glass, and she is in thee, calls back the lovely April of her prime. So thou doth window... I've done it again. This is not going well so far.
I'm enjoying this.
So breathe. So thou through windows of thine age shalt see, despite of wrinkles, this thy golden time. But if thou live, remembered not to be, thy single and thine image dies with thee. I think that was my best work so far.
That was good. It's quite hard not to do that last line with some passion. I don't know if you had the same, not sort of going to the secondary school education that I had here, but were you forced to read these things in school out loud?
I didn't do all the sonnets in school. I did a few. I remember doing the Dark Lady sonnets, and I did various ones, just spread, like picked out a few.
We would have the teacher read one of the sonnets or read a poem really quickly and really elegantly and get all the intonation right, and then would pick a random child and go, now read this one. And there's the embarrassment factor of always stumbling, and that's why I'm forcing myself to read them now, so that the viewers out there can listen to me and you stumble, and just to show that it's absolutely normal when reading these things out loud to stumble.
It is quite. It's mainly the th. They seem to pop up quite a lot, and then thr, th, and then he throws in an f and a w in between, so you kind of stumble over your own tongue in between, and it's just
Yeah, and of course they words would have been pronounced differently as well.
Yeah, so you have to be careful with the rhyming and words that you would pronounce differently.
Anyway, this has been a Shakespeare sonnet. That was sonnet number 3. I've been Mark Chatterley.
I have been Thierry Heles.
And we shall see you again next time for sonnet number 4. Goodbye, everyone. Goodbye.
Bye.
You've been listening to Shakespeare Sonnets with Mark Chatterley and Thierry Heles. This has been an In-Ear Entertainment podcast. To listen to other podcasts or find out more about In-Ear Entertainment, go to www.inearentertainment.com.